Messages this. What's up, people? What's up, folks? So, y'all saw the title. Good morning to the people who are joining. Y'all know what to do already. Go ahead and drop who you are and where you are. Give me your nickname. If you got a long name, hola. If you got a long name, give me a nickname or something like that. But I'll probably see your name in the comments. But do drop where you are this morning. And I want to ask a question where everybody is getting on here. And I'm going to keep repeating my question. What's up, Brazil? I'm going to keep repeating my question. Is integrity important? Your opinion. And what is integrity to you? Just drop it in the comments. I'm gonna just kind of warm up here a little bit. I haven't had a chance to practice this morning. Parker, what's up, man? South Africa, I see you in the building. And I say building, y'all know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? We live, we're here this morning online. So I see you online. And by the way, this loop, if it's still here, is a loop from Marcus Miller, Manda. What's up? I see you. I'm doing this loop. This is a song called High Life from Marcus Miller's album, and I just made a loop and I was playing. If any of you follow me on social media, you saw I posted something on yesterday while I was just kind of practicing around this song. I'm actually kind of transcribing the song, something that I talked about in my lesson that I put out on yesterday. If you didn't see that lesson, okay, from Purana, I guess that's how you pronounce that. Good morning to you, Adamir. So yeah, I just was playing around with some different solo ideas. I really like the groove to this song, so I just started playing around to it. What's up, man? I'm good, Chris. Playing around with some ideas. objective is to keep going, even if you mess up. Find ways to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I did something. I didn't really mean to do that, but it's a way to make stuff like that work. The pros do it. So because if you keep going, you'll hear some ways you can kind of get out of it. Let me see, I missed a man, you should make a video where you show how to do the melodic chord. Thank you. We'll look into that. Tyrone, what's up, man? Good morning. So I got people this morning, as y'all jump on, to go ahead and drop in the comments about integrity. What is integrity to you? And do you think it's necessary? Just drop that in the comments while I'm playing. We're going to talk a little bit about it. If you want to share a little bit about integrity from your perspective, drop it in the comments. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. Ignore my terrible scatting this morning, but it helps me sometimes. Helps sometimes to sing. Yep, it definitely does. can use dynamics to your advantage. You can stay on the same phrase. Turn this down. You can stay on the same phrase and utilize dynamics when you're doing improvisation. And you can get away with playing the same thing a long time until you develop some more ideas. I use it to my advantage, not to just develop ideas, but for the sake of, it's like good transition points to kind of help you go into other little things. Not that you're fishing, but you're just kind of enjoying the moment. You stay there. You know, sometimes like when you're traveling, when you're driving, you can be so focused, like if you're taking a road trip, you can be so focused on, if you're driving from your house to Orlando or wherever you live to another place that's supposed to be better, you can miss so many things along the way just by trying to hurry up and get there. But if you slow down and take advantage of the sights while you're there, same thing when you're playing and you're doing improvisation. If you slow down a minute and enjoy a phrase, if you play a really nice phrase, stay there for a second, repeat the phrase. Do different dynamics, maybe change the rhythm of it, and it becomes more enjoyable to you as a player. When you enjoy what you're playing, you become inspired and you start repeating better ideas. You start getting more inspiration in the middle of you playing, and other things come out. I do it all the time. So let's see. It just kind of gave me another place to go. I'm playing through my amp right now. I'm not even using my phone. This is just off my amp. Using dissonant stuff. Thank you. So I'm in the key of C sharp minor. So I can easily go relative and go E major and just solo as well. Oh yeah, thank you guys for the comments on integrity. If you're just jumping on, please be sure to drop your comment about integrity, how you feel about it, and get some thumbs up too, y'all. Help me get these views up. If you don't mind, drop a thumbs up. There we go. Yeah, it's that crazy algorithm thing with YouTube. Because if you're live and they don't feel like anybody's enjoying it, they're not going to share it with other people. So I need your help. I need your help. I need your help with the likes. Thank y'all for hitting that like button. I'm still figuring out this bass. So if it sounds different from my normal tone, still figuring it out. I understand, Pete. Somebody comment down in the comments where the like button is. see I'm missing some stuff. So I played for about 20 minutes now, so hopefully that's some playing. Let's go back. Let me see here. I sent you some comments on integrity. Jermaine Morgan, keep up the awesome groove. Thank you. I think I responded to you. All right. Let me go back. I'm trying to read your comments now. Okay, so I think I started Tyrone Williams. Important. He's saying that integrity is important. Blessed are the pure in heart. They shall see God. Integrity must be an intentional behavior. I totally agree. Let me see here. My homeboy that I can't pronounce his name. I get you on the integrity part, dude, but can you vary on who we ask? But on my point, I find it important because you are able to express who you are with the style you have on a particular genre. I'm more so talking about, just for clarity, I'm more so talking about integrity on a personal level, not necessarily musical integrity, which musical integrity is important and it's good, but I'm more so talking, I guess I should have been more specific. I'm talking integrity on a personal level. That's more so what I'm addressing when I ask that question about integrity. Good morning, Melvin. Chris said I use the TC. So you use the RH 750. Do you have a special set for the preamp, or is it set flat? I'm pretty flat, man. Most people don't believe it when I say it, so I'm gonna show you my head back there. As you can see, it's set flat. Everything is pretty flat on that head. So the only thing you see that's lit up back there is the compression. I have some compression on there, just kind of have a little bit more control. But yeah, I play pretty flat. When I plug up to amps, even when I go as I have to play on somebody else's stuff, I generally set the amp flat. It's very rare that I use the EQ to boost anything, because most of the time my basses are kind of giving me what I want. And I use the EQ settings off of my bass, and I just set the amp flat. Now, unless it sounds like trash, and I just have to tweak and do whatever I have to do. And the room and the building sometimes affects the sound, so I might have to tweak accordingly. If it's too bass heavy, cut some of the low end and that kind of thing. Just to make sure that I'm cutting through it. I'm not being too boomy with my bass and not getting enough clarity. So that's some of the stuff that I do. But yeah, as far as my setting, I'm generally, most of the time, I'm flat, and the EQ is coming from the actual bass. So is that Joel or is it Yoel? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Yes, integrity is relevant and necessary for us musicians or in any professional. Yeah, as any profession, actually. Yeah, I agree, man. Integrity is respecting tonality. Sometimes go out and come back is to celebrate the tonality, don't you think? I think I got what you're saying, Christoph. I'm gonna just call you Chris because I don't want to say your name wrong. But yeah, I think that in the musical aspect, definitely what you're saying. Kind of respecting the song, just to briefly address it from a musical standpoint, musical integrity, and making sure we're respecting what's there, making sure we're respecting what the song is supposed to be, as opposed to imposing our own thought completely on the song. You want to bring your personality to the song, but you don't want to completely infringe everything you are up on a song and take away from the integrity of the song, musically speaking. But like I said, I'm talking integrity more so on a personal note. Hopefully y'all found the like button. Robert Taylor said, thanks for explaining. Most, including myself, find it hard to solo for this long of a time. I used to do the same thing, man. After about 2 phrases, I'll be done ran out of ideas. And it was up until I got familiar with what it was I was playing and enjoying my soloing. That's something that I started talking about on the lesson. If you guys saw the lesson, by show of thumbs, who saw the lesson? If you got an emoji, you can put the hand emoji up. But who saw the lesson on yesterday that I posted? I was talking about it. If you haven't seen it, that's totally okay. Be sure to go back and watch it. I'm not going to talk about everything I said in the lesson, but I did address some things concerning being able to implement more ideas and implement the stuff that you know, because as I mentioned in the lesson, there's a lot of people who know a lot of information, but they don't know how to apply it. So be sure to go back and watch that lesson. I'm not going to spend this morning talking on that, because I'm going to be doing a whole series where we're digging into more of that stuff. So I will try my best not to dig too much into that idea. And so hopefully the stuff I played this morning strikes up some questions, so you guys can send me some questions or comment on that actual video from yesterday. Comment your questions or your thoughts or your concerns. Thank you for watching it. I see your thumbs. So be sure to comment so I can know some of the things you're talking about. Let's see. Peter said it. Let me make sure I don't miss anything else. Okay. Like Billy Joe. Okay, got you. Got you. Got you. All right, so I missed several comments just now. All right, I'm gonna go back up. Okay, get it, man. What's up, Knoxville? Fred, I see you, man. Close the live, that console, it'll be on the, okay, you responded to the person that asked what a like button is. Cool. What bass is it? This is the Serene bass that I have now. I'm still learning this bass, but yeah, this is that Serene bass. For you guys that are wondering about this bass, kind of looks a lot like Ken Smith in the design, and in the tonality is similar, but it's not the same. Yeah, this is Serene bass. Do I endorse Serene? No, I do not. I still endorse Warrior bass. The way this happened is a long story that I will not get into, but nonetheless, I have I have this bass now, and I still play my Warrior basses proudly. But this is just another toy. You know what I'm saying? Just because we have certain cars in the garage don't mean we're gonna get mad if another one pull up. You know what I'm saying? So for the people who wonder, has Jermaine put Warrior basses on? No, absolutely not. I still play my Warrior. As you saw in the video that I posted on yesterday, I'm still playing my Warrior basses. This is just something else, no different from me adding a Squire to my bass collection. Hopefully we'll have a whole wall. As y'all see my room in here, I started putting some stuff up on the walls. Hopefully you'll see you'll see more basses. Oh yeah, and that guitar back there, that's actually my first guitar, believe it or not. And I keep it, it's in very worn condition because it has like 2 strings on it. But this was my first guitar. Remember, you guys, I told you I started playing guitar first. I had an uncle in St. Louis who gave me this guitar when I was 12 years old. He had a guitar. He had a Fender Strat in his basement, and we were there for a family reunion. And every single morning, I would get up because I had my other uncle who lives in Mississippi who kind of helped me start on the guitar. I would always play his guitar or try to attempt to play it. I learned like 1 chord, but when we were in St. Louis, that little 1 chord, I wore it out every morning on that guitar. He had a white Fender Strat. I don't know what year it was. But he would hear me playing every single day on that guitar, and he saw that I was like passionate about it, and I really loved it because nobody was telling me to do it. I was just doing it for the simple love of it. And so as we were getting ready to leave, we were getting in the car. He was like, "Hey, Maine." He called me Maine. He said, "You like that guitar?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You gonna play it?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I tell you what." He went and grabbed. It was a case. It was in a hard shell case. And I wish I still had the case, but it kind of got damaged, and I was a kid, so I used it had like fur. It was like red velvet looking fur that was in the case. And so he opened it up and showed me that guitar. It was like, now the strings, mind you, was like that high off the neck, but nonetheless, it was my personal first guitar. And from that point on, it was like I learned how to play on a guitar that the intonation was like terrible because I never took it to get set up. I just played it as is, and I just learned how to play guitar. And that was my first guitar. So, yep, I didn't have to play that one long before my parents purchased me. It's like I got on my birthday, like my next birthday was coming up, and my uncle gave me his Mexican Strat. And that I had been playing on. He gave me that one, and my parents bought me a little cheap. It's like I wasn't getting no top end. I don't want y'all to get, oh man, this dude got like 3 guitars. Like it wasn't anything like that. I got like a Carrera, I want to say, was the other guitar that my parents bought me, and that's the one I played the most because it was the most comfortable to play. So yeah, that's how it all started with me. But I keep that, man, because it's just it's memories. I wish I had my first bass seal, but yeah, nonetheless, that's the first guitar, and she hangs there on the wall in all her splendor and broke string and bad intonation and missing screws and all that. She's in her glory. I might get it restored one day, but as for now, that's if you ever were to come to my studio, you'll see it. You'll see it hanging here. All right, so let me check your questions out again. Let's see here. I'm going back. All right, I think I stopped at what bass is it, and I answered that question. I play for my church. This is James Madison. I play for my church, and I want to know what are the 5 positions of the minor pentatonic. Okay, that's for another lesson. I'm sorry, James. I probably won't get to that one today. I'll save that for another lesson. Or if you find it before I get to it, by all means, check that out. You can look that up on YouTube. One of the things I'm making sure that people do know about me, I'm not a really technical guy, but I will show you how to use what you know to your advantage. So if you're coming to me and you want to know what to come to me for, I will show you how to use what you already have and help you unlock your sound with the things you know. I will teach you things along the way and give you little tools, but I feel like there's such a flood of information out there of people who are just teaching all the technical stuff, all the mechanics, all of these different things. It's like, for me to keep doing it, it's like I'll be regurgitating everything everybody else is doing, and that's just simply not who I am as a player. Never profess to be one who knows it all, but I know what works for me. I've been a professional for many years now, and I've recorded several albums, and I know what works for me, and I know what works to help other people to unlock their sound, because I was one of those guys who struggled with figuring these things out, and I wasted a lot of time. So what I don't want to do is get on here and just continue to create videos that waste time. I'm going to give you things that are practical, things that you can put to use. So for any other technical questions, guys, I'm not saying I won't answer them, but there's some things it's like I'll just kind of, it's not me, so to speak, to really deal with that stuff. Some of the things I have dealt with in my lessons on my website, JermaineMorgan.net. If you're a monthly member, I've covered a lot of different topics in my monthly membership lessons. But if any of my monthly members on here, they'll tell you Jermaine is going to give more practical stuff, more stuff that you can use and apply real time, stuff that you can use and apply to the groove. I'll show you some technical stuff, some theory stuff here and there. I mean, it's all theory when we look at it, but I like to give it from the standpoint, just based on my culture of where I come from. I come from a lot of people who weren't all solo players. I came from people who play in regular settings, and they just want to be more effective. They just want to be better, to be a better asset to the gig that they're a part of, or the band, or the environment that they're playing in. They just want to be a better asset to that. And along the way, you're going to learn some stuff that's going to help you in improvisation. You're going to learn some different ideas that's going to help you to build better groove. You're going to learn some things like now that we're supposed to be talking about, like integrity, things that help you keep the gig. Because to me, one of the things, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong on my opinion. But one of the things I believe, it's going to be really hard to just be a person with a bunch of information and know a lot of stuff, but you have no gig to use it on, or you have nowhere to go and use this information. You're just going to be like a library. A library is no good when it's just sitting there full of books. It's no good. If a person never checks out any of those books, never goes in there and read any of those books, and never utilizes any of the information that's there, a library is just a wealth of information that's being wasted. And it can have spider webs. Probably now that everybody can get everything on their phone, libraries are probably becoming more and more extinct to a certain degree. I don't really think they ever go away. I digress. That's neither here nor there. But the point is, don't be a library. Have a library of information, but use it. Be able to use it. Be able to share the information so that people can use this stuff and be effective with it. We're using this music, we're using this tool of music to positively affect others. Music is used for that that thing. And I can go back into the history of a lot of the different music that was played back in the day, but I won't do that here. But yeah, hopefully that I didn't chase too many rabbits there. Um, but that's where I stand on that. Let's see here. Nice TC Electronic rig there. Had the opportunity to use the same rig at a gig before. Cool. Yeah, it's cool, man. That gig, I mean that rig is it's pretty cool. I've been using for some years now. A person's word should be, this is Peter Barnett. A person's word should be their bond. One's reputation should be their personal ambassador when they are not available to represent, defend their reputation, integrity. Yeah, I totally agree, man. Very well spoken, Peter. If you're still here, yes, that's right. Like Bill. Okay, I got you. Good morning, David. Uh, if that is integrity, you're hinting at. Yeah, yeah, that's the integrity I'm hinting at, Peter. You're absolutely right. Uh, who else do we got here? Somebody asked, how do you get endorsements? Um, the best way to answer that question, and don't, hopefully this don't come off the wrong way. The best way to get endorsements is raise your personal value and not go asking for endorsements. Um, to me, that's the best way to go about it, especially now with the economy in the position, in the place that it's in. You've had a lot of musicians over the last few years. Yeah, I mean, musicians been doing this for a while, but as social media made endorsement companies and stuff like that more accessible, people are reaching out. They get a few hundred followers, a few couple of thousand followers. Hey, give me some stuff, give me some free stuff. Let me do this. Most of the companies that I'm with, I kind of partner with a lot of these companies in the early stages of their launching their company, and I partnered with them, and I had stuff that I was doing that added value to myself and also added value to the company. And once that company seen that I was adding value to them, of course they would throw stuff in. They would throw free gear or throw some things, send some things my way. I think one of the first companies that I partnered with, and I call partnership, it's a little bit different from them giving me artist pricing. But one of the first companies that I really partnered with, that actually there was an exchange that I will mention, was like Groove Gear. Groove Gear was one of the first companies that stepped up and partnered with me as it relates to ventures that I was taking on. Like when I started doing Say It With Your Strings, Groove Gear was one of the first companies. They were a new company at the time when I started doing Say It With Your Strings. They weren't as known as they are now. Bass Players United is another, it's a magazine company, but you know, a lot of you guys follow them on social media, and they're big on social media. But back in the day, Bass Players United wasn't as big. I partnered with Bass Players United when I was doing my Say It With Your Strings contest. And I brought recognition to their platform as well as them bringing recognition to mine. So there was a partnership, a trading of, trading of relations, so to speak. It's like I have some contacts that they need to know, and they had some contacts that I needed to know. So my platform of however many people I had at the time were getting exposed to Groove Gear, was getting exposed to Bass Players United, and later SIT Strings, WB Gear. That exchange of different people. Warrior Basses, I've been playing them for years. But to me, the endorsement thing shouldn't be about you just trying to get some free gear. It should be an exchange. One of the things, don't just go after a company because you want something for free. Actually go after a company if you're gonna try to, pursue an endorsement. Let it be something that you actually, and this is so good. I'm glad you asked me this because it has a lot to do with integrity. The integrity part of it is, don't just be asking people for stuff just because you don't want to pay for anything and you just want to look the part and you want to look like somebody who has it going on. I have this endorsement, or this company is endorsing me, and that company is endorsing me, but you're adding no value to that company. Figure out ways you can add value to that company, and before you just sell your soul, make sure they're adding some value to you. Make sure that you are a valued member of their team, because if they don't value you as a player or as a person, both of you guys are wasting your time. You might be getting a discount on stuff, but if they don't value you as a person or value what you bring to the company, you have to kind of really look at that and say, is this something I want to be associated with? Is this something I want to be partnered with? Is this something I want to have my name associated with? Because here's the thing, I don't blow off any of you guys that's on here. Just because I might not personally know who you are doesn't mean the world won't know who you are. And I think a lot of times people make that mistake, especially people who are in my position or people who have a lot more influence. We write off people that we don't know. And that's a really bad thing to do, because you never know who these people are going to be. So I try, forgive me if I don't, but I try to make sure I treat each person that I come in contact with respect, not because I think they're going to be something one day, because you're human. You're a human being and you deserve the utmost respect in the same way that I hope to be treated. And that's integrity. You know, that's like making sure that we keep those parts of us, we keep that honest, that honesty, we keep that pure. It's not being unbalanced, which means I come in contact with Jermaine Morgan, I'm gonna go out of my way to speak to him, but I'm knocking over this dude that I don't know, trying to run over here and speak to Jermaine. It's like, that's not integrity, that's not honesty. You're being fake and you're being shallow, because you're looking at these people as non-relevant because you don't know who they are. And I get it, because we're all guilty of it to some degree, but you have to be able to check yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to treat each person that I come in contact with the utmost respect, just simply because that's who I am. I want to make sure that people feel respected when they're around me. I want to make sure what I'm giving off is the utmost respect to everybody, because the thing about it is, you never know who you come in contact with. There's a scripture that talks about be careful how you entertain strangers. It's from my favorite book. Be careful how you entertain strangers, because many have entertained angels unaware. Some people might take that literal. Some people might take it figuratively. I'm not here to tell you to do either or, but do think about it. There are people that you may come in contact with, like, I'll use this for a better scenario. When Sam Walton was alive, if you guys don't know who Sam Walton is, that's the guy who started Walmart. And if you want to know more about that story, read book called Made in America, I think, by Sam Walton or whatever. And it tells his story. So I think the book is about Sam Walton. I think he wrote the book, but if I'm not correct, y'all can correct me on that. I read the book, that's all I'm saying. So anyway, it tells about the Walmart story, how all that came about. And the thing that Sam Walton would do, if you hear the stories about him, he would drive around in an old beat up Ford truck. Some of you may have heard this before. And a lot of times he would just show up at the stores and just walk around it like a regular customer in some overalls, and just unassuming. He would just be there sometimes. And, you know, these are stories that people talk about. Some of the employees, he would kind of monitor how they would be treating customers as he's walking around talking to people and dealing with employees, because mind you, they don't have a clue who he is. He's just this older white guy that's walking around with some overalls on. It's like they could probably think he's a hillbilly, because, you know, the original Walmart was like in Bentonville, Arkansas, somewhere like that. But anyway, he's walking around interacting with these people. They have no idea who he is. And so a lot of times their position in that company would be determined based on how they treat him, or so the story goes. But the thing about it is, like, again, you have to be careful how you entertain strangers, because the thing about it, that integrity part of you is going to say, no matter who this person is, I'm going to treat them with the utmost respect. You don't know, that person could be your next boss. That person could be the one who's connected to the person who's going to get you that next gig. That person could be that one who can make a phone call today. When they come up to you and say, man, awesome performance, you I appreciate it, man. You just brush them off, thank you. Or you have a bad attitude. That person could be a serious promoter for you, or for your band, or for what. You just never know who you're coming in contact with. So that's why it's so important. And I have to remind myself, because we're all human. It's not like we all intend to treat people wrong, or brush people off, or be short with people, or have a bad attitude with people. We could have had a bad night. Somebody could have got on our nerves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I didn't do my best. This was a sloppy performance. Anything could affect our mind. It could affect the way we're thinking, the way we're feeling. But you have to make sure that you're using your self-control to make sure, you know what, no matter what has happened around me, I'm going to make sure I give off the best presentation, the best representation of who I am as a person. I'm going to be honest, not in, and when I say honest, I know that's could be twofold, because you're saying, well, if you feel bad and you're being honest, you, whatever they get is what they get. It's like, I know people that take that mentality. What you see is what you get. I get that. And, you know, to a certain degree, I'm cool with that. So you're telling me just because you're having a bad day, if you're a jerk to someone or you think somebody deserves that from you, that's what you're going to give them, and you think that's being real? That's a rhetorical question. You don't have to respond to it. But those are some of the things that I'm thinking about. I know, again, I'm good at chasing rabbits now. I can go down the rabbit trail when I answer a question. So, again, all of it's along the line of integrity. So I started out answering the question about somebody asked me about endorsements. How do you get endorsements and that kind of thing? And my response again to that was just making sure that you're being honest. Like, if it's a company that you really admire and you feel like you can add value to that company, or you already been adding a lot of value to that company, you're putting up a lot of videos, you're playing their stuff out a lot, you're in a band and you're doing a lot of traveling and that kind of stuff, and you're constantly promoting their product and you're giving their product really, really good exposure, then yeah, maybe it's time that you talk to that company and say, listen, man, I really love your product. Number one, that's first thing. I really love your product, and I'm constantly sharing about your product. And one of the things, people always come up and ask me about your product, and I'm always telling them what it is I'm playing. I'm telling them the specs. I'm giving them this. I'm giving them that. And I'm telling them where they can go and buy it. And I know as a result of that, tons of people have went and purchased your product. And I'm just wondering if you guys are interested in taking me on as an endorsee for you. You know what I'm saying? So, or an endorser rather. That's something that you can kind of do to go about it. But you have to make sure that you're being honest again, and that integrity has to kick in. And if they say no, that's cool. Move on. And if they don't value you and you know that you're adding value to them, I encourage you to try out a different product. If you know you have a platform that merits their attention and they won't give you the time of a day, you don't have to keep spending your money with that company. You don't have to. You're not obligated to do that. Now, if you just love their product that much, regardless if they decide to back you or not, you're going to keep using it, by all means, rock out. But if that's the case, don't pursue the endorsement. So that's my 2 cents on that piece. And um, let's see here. Good morning, Bruce Young. Integrity is just like keeping your first guitar. Yep, exactly. Keeping it real, man. MJ Morgan, I love those initials. That's me. That's my initials, MJ Morgan. So good morning from New York. Good morning to New York. I'm not in New York. So Scott, along the same lines, what do you feel is your strength as a musician, a bass player? What is my strength? Scott, come back if you're still here and explain your question. I want to make sure I answer that. Great video. I'm now at work. Got to drop off. Oh, man. Peter, take care, man. Where can I learn the latest gospel music? I want to play for a church. That's an interesting question. Find out the gospel station, the radio station in your city. That's the first thing I would do, is find out the gospel radio station in your city and listen to what they're playing on that gospel radio station. This is MJ Morgan. I like, again, that's me now. MJ Morgan asking this question. If you want to play for a church, find out what's playing in the local radio station. And also go on billboard.com and go to the gospel segment and see what's the top gospel songs. And you can start there. That's not going to necessarily cover you, because a lot of churches now are doing a lot of mixed type worship experiences. So they're doing contemporary Christian music, traditional music, especially if you go to gospel or black churches or mixed churches, you're going to get a melting pot of music. So you can start there, But just find out what the gospel and the Christian stations are and just start learning that music. Figure out what those top songs are. Like I said, you can go to Billboard and figure out what the top songs are there, or you can just visit some churches and find out. That's one of the other better ways. Visit the churches, go talk to some of the music directors or some of the worship directors, some of the worship pastors. And a lot of them are not going to give you a whole list because that's going to take a lot of time to do that. But they can maybe help to point you in the right direction and say, hey, maybe you can go check out this or check out that. So there's some things you can do, or just simply go and listen to the songs that they do during the service. And you can ask them, hey, can you give me the names of the songs that y'all did today? Now, they might be willing to do that. And now you visit enough churches and like just write down the names of those songs. Most of the time it's going to be anywhere between 5 and 7 songs. So you write those 5 songs down, go work on them. Go back the next week, hear the 5 songs that they do that week, we'll work on them. You already got a catalog of 10 songs that you've built. And you can look those songs up on YouTube. So that's the way you can do that, to start getting yourself ready to play in a church. Let's see here. Thank you, Scott. CeeLo, I think that's how you say it. That's something I've been meaning to ask. When you're playing at a church, how do you separate being a session-based player and actually worshiping and putting the ego and pride aside? Thank you for that question. That's a really, really, really good question. Who is that, CeeLo? Because there's a lot of professional players that struggle with that. Your ego, let me make sure I read your question again. When playing at a church, how do you separate being a session-based player and actually worshiping? That comes back to integrity. That's why I said excellent question. That comes back to your individual integrity. You're going to be what you are. You're going to be who you are, no matter where you are. Now, the thing that comes about, if you're a session musician, which I am, I'm going to be a professional in a session setting. That's just who I am. And I'm also going to be a professional in a worship setting. But I'm still open to worship. You know, as I'm there, I know that my gift wasn't given to me by me. So I can't take on the ego or the arrogance of, hey, arrogance and confidence are 2 different things. So please don't misunderstand when I say this. I can't take on the ego and that pride of, this is me. I work for this. And yeah, you did. You did work on that. And you may have started with nothing, but guess what? That gift was given to you. The ear, the ability, all of this was given to you. And all we are, I think the best way to answer your question is to remind you that we are only stewards of the gift that we're given. That's, to me, the best way for me to answer your question. If you realize and recognize that you are a steward of that gift, as opposed to this is mine, taking this mine mentality, when you realize that you are a steward, which means if I'm a steward of this thing, that if I give you my car keys and I say, you are a steward of my car, drive it, take care of it. But if something is wrong with it, you're not the owner. You don't have to make the payments on it. You might have to put some gas in depending on our agreement, but you're not responsible for changing the oil unless I give that responsibility to you. You're not responsible for rotating the tires and changing the tires unless I give you that responsibility. But as a steward, you ought to just make sure that you take care of the car, keep it vacuumed, keep it washed, make sure that the car is taken care of. But the ultimate thing, like the car note, the insurance, that's on me as the person who gives you the car. All you have to do is basically keep gas in it and drive it. Now, you need to be aware of the tires, make sure the tires aren't getting low. And if you're going to be a really good steward, you're going to take it upon yourself to make sure you change the tires. If you blow a tire out, it's like, I appreciate this dude. This is a good steward. Now, what separates the good steward from the bad stewards? A good steward would say, man, I really appreciate this guy letting me use this car. And because he's letting me use this car, if I can afford it or if I'm in a position to where I can afford it, the tire's blown out on this car. So I'm going to make sure I put some tires on this car and make sure this car is running good. Okay, I noticed I done had this guy car for over 30,000 miles. It's about time for an oil change. I'm not going to bother him. I'm just going to be a good steward, and I'm just going to go ahead and get the oil changed anyway. Even though he didn't ask me to do it, I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. But all the while I have this car in my possession as a good steward, I still realize that this is not my car. This is a car that I'm using. Layman's terms, this is not my car. This is not my car. These are not my cars. This, the musical ideas, this is not my car. My hands that I can play music with, these are not my cars. I'm a steward over the gift that's been given to me. And because I'm a steward over the gift, I'm going to do what I can to take care of my gift by studying my music, by practicing and doing the necessary work to show up for the gig, by worshiping if you are a church musician, which is a requirement, you know. And it says, talking about integrity, they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. It's hard for you to worship and to be honest. Oh, well, not be honest, but it's hard for you to worship when you're not being honest, when you're not being who you really are. You're going to find it hard. If you have an ego problem, you're going to find it hard to worship. You're going to find it hard to cut your ego off when you go into a place because you feel like you're entitled. You walk around with a sense of entitlement when you have an ego. I hear people say that some ego is good. I'm not getting into that argument. I think your confidence is good. Having good confidence and knowing what you bring to the table is good. But all the while having that peace in your mind because you realize that you are a steward over these gifts that you've been given. You are a steward because here's why you know you are a steward. Argue me if you want to. I ain't here for that. But if something were to happen today, let's take it back to the car scenario. If you have a car accident, what happens? And you total out that car is gone. It's done. We don't even have to take it to the point of death with you as an individual. But if something were to happen, your arms get cut off. That's extreme. That's pretty extreme. But it's gone. If you have a stroke and you lose the mobility of your left or your right side, it's going to be really difficult to play like you used to play. If for some reason you have some type of unknown, so I ain't speaking doesn't on anybody, but for some reason you have some type of unknown thing that pops up, it's gone. So if you were indeed the person who had possession of this and you did all of this and I worked on this, I did that, well, you should be able to easily get that gift back, right? Regardless of if you had a stroke or regardless of if you lost your hand or if something stopped working on your body, you should still be able to do what you do with no problem, right? No, you can't. You can't do. And I think that's the thing that most people fail to realize is that this is a gift. This is a gift that we have, and we have to have integrity with what we do. We have to realize we are only stewards. That's why it's no problem for me to share. I grew up around a lot of people who are musicians who had the mentality of, I'm not going to show you what I know, because if I show you what I know, you're going to take it and you're going to use it against me, or you're going to go around telling everybody that you came up with this, which means I'm concerning myself with what other people do with what I give them instead of just freely giving like it was given to me. I'm not worried about it. Does that mean you go out and play for free for everybody? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying once you give it out, you don't worry about it. Once you give from your heart liberally, as it's been given to you, you don't worry about if somebody's going to take your stuff. So I can create Riffs and Licks volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1,000, and I will keep getting ideas because I'm being a good steward over what's been given to me, and I don't mind sharing. When we share, we receive. As we give, we receive. I started making strides in my playing. I can count every time, even currently to now as I'm teaching, the most progress I make comes from me sharing. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that, Bruce. The most progress I've made as a player has come as a result of me sharing what I have, me being a good steward and actually sharing, giving away, being honest about my stuff that I feel like it's been the most impactful is when I'm honest about my story, when I'm honest about who I am, when I'm honest about my shortcomings as a player and things I struggled with as a player. I see more response from people that share similar stories with me, like, man, I dealt with the exact same thing, or man, and it's such a liberating feeling to know that you're not the only one who may have dealt with a certain thing. So why would we walk around with an ego when you know you struggled to get to the point that you are? Even if you were a natural, and my daughter is a natural. She was born with a with perfect pitch, but there is still work that has to be done. I still have to work with her on certain things. I still have to direct her. Her musical, now she's only 7 years old, and her musical ear is ridiculous. I mean, just hearing keys and all of this kind of stuff, she has it. I don't have that. She has it naturally. So she can get on the instruments, and I say naturally mean she understands music. She can't play it all well yet, but she understands it. She can get on the piano and make sense. She can get on the drums and make sense. She's picked up acoustic guitar, and she can get on there and make sense. She hasn't got to bass yet, but she sings and she understands runs. She understands this stuff. So it's a gift that has been freely given to her. She did not work for it. It's there. But that gift, as a steward, she still has to work on it. She still has to work on the gift. So don't look at people who are prodigies and think that those people didn't have to work. They still have to put in the work. They just had a little bit more help than you probably had or I probably had. But nonetheless, they still have to put in the work. So I guess it's really great for me to see my daughter and see her journey as a musician, because I'm still saying she still gets frustrated when she doesn't get stuff. She still gets upset because she can't figure it out. So just because she has that gift and she has that perfect pitch and she can hear it and all that kind of stuff, it's still difficult for her. So none of us have it easy. But once we can realize that and embrace that and begin to share that with other people and lift other people up, I think it makes us more vulnerable. It makes us more honest, which ultimately shows us having more integrity. Let me see some more comments before I jump off of here. All right. I think I stopped at my guy CeeLo's question. George Feser. And if I said that wrong, y'all know. Endorsements, I agree. I have endorsements with several companies. It's always started with the fact that I love the products and bought the first one as a normal. There you go. When they see you have invested into them, that most of the time they have no problem investing into you if you have, if you have some influence. And again, the biggest thing I said at the beginning is making sure you add that value to yourself. If you're adding value to yourself and to them as a company, they have no problem throwing gear. I'll use Groove Gear. Groove Gear is probably one of my biggest supporters next to Pig Hog. Now, I will say that Pig Hog Cables, definitely one of my biggest supporters, for sure, hands down. Out of all the companies that I endorse, Pig Hog Cables, hands down, is one of the most supportive companies that I've been partnered with in my years as a professional. When I do my events, when I do my clinics, whatever it is, they are giving me a box of cables. So if you show up at one of my events, more than likely, if I had time to get Pig Hog involved, you're going to probably receive some type of cable or something like that, because they give. But one thing that my rep with Pig Hog notices from me is they notice my character and my integrity, and they want to be a part of that. They know what I do, and they know what I try to do for the community, and they know what I try to do for people who I try to pour into, because they consistently follow me on social media and they see what's going on with me. So when I tell them, hey, I got this going on, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, sure, okay. And they're giving into what I'm giving into. So there's an equal trade. So I have no problem with telling people, hey, go get some Pig Hog cables. I mean, not to mention it's a great product. They sound amazing. They are great built products. So I'm not lying or anything when I say that. It's like they're great products, but as well, they're a great company because they support. You know, you don't have just this big conglomerate that does not it doesn't do anything to give back to the community. They give back to the community. Upcoming musicians, I do a shed for a cause every year in Mississippi. If you're close to Northeast Mississippi, every year, right before Thanksgiving, I generally announce it on all my social media platforms. Shed for a cause is where I bring together the local and regional musicians, and we talk, we share information, we jam out, we have a great time. And the cause of it is we bring food, we bring canned food and non-perishables, and we give those to families in need. Some people bring money, some people bring gift cards. This has been going on for about 5 years now. It's one of the biggest musician gatherings in Northeast Mississippi that happens yearly. So I'm really, really proud to have started that. But Pig Hog is one of my biggest sponsors for that every single year. So yeah, that's what I'm saying in terms of the endorsement situations that later changed into a long-term relationship from an endorsement. Exactly. You build relationships with these people. MJ Morgan, you are welcome. Bruce, amen. Amen to what you said about gifts. Yes, sir. Amen. It's like that in life. Be a good steward. Absolutely. Bruce says I have pig hog cables and they're awesome. Absolutely, man. Y'all know if you play pig hog cables, if you haven't tried them, not only do they make great products, my personal experiences with them have been they support me. They support what I do, and they are givers. They are givers to their artists, you know, the ones who are getting out, hitting the streets, spreading the word. Now, the trade-off, now I don't want to make it sound like anything that it isn't. I do know that the equal trade-off to these companies that support, they are a business and they have to pay their workers. And part of that sharing what the products that they have is exposure. I do know that, so I'm not in the dark about that. So I don't want you guys to think I'm green to that regard. But they do have a choice in the matter. You can have a closed fist and you can say, no, I'm not giving anything out. I don't care if it is exposure. I'm not giving anything away for free. They have to buy stuff from me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you have that mentality, you're not going to grow. So I'm not in the dark about that. When it comes to, I'm a business owner myself. And so I do realize when you do give away stuff, you're hoping that there's some level of exposure that comes as a result of that. You do hope that the customer, you said, well, a cable is a cable, right? Yeah, for the most part. Sometimes, depending on what you buy. You do get what you pay for in some instances. So I'm not going to completely jump on that train. A cable is a cable to some to some degree, because you can buy some stuff and it could be a piece of crap. It's a cable, but it's not quality. So slight difference. There are slight differences when you get into the real technical parts, but y'all know me, I'm not a technical guy. So to answer your question, yes and no. But like I said, when a company invests in their endorsees, that kind of thing, of course, that's a hope that there's a trade-off there. There's an exposure that more people will find out about our gear, more people will want to buy our gear. But at the same time, again, it's a choice that we make to give. Same way on YouTube, I give away probably more because I put out a lot of content on social media for free, but I also have paid stuff on my website because I still got to eat. My family still has to eat. So I can't just give away every single thing for free in hopes that people will do the right thing and turn around, return the favor, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are just takers. They don't give back. Some people just take it. You're going to keep giving for free. I'm going to take everything you give me, but I'm not going to give you anything back. So there are people who want to go deeper. And so for people who want to go deeper, I do have other things that I can make my time and my information and my wisdom more accessible to people who want to know more. Even my time on my phone calls. I don't spend a lot of time on the phone with a lot of people. I have a very, very, very small circles. And if any of you are wondering about my, as I wrap this up, if any of you are wondering about my calls on my website, if you haven't seen those, I have coaching calls that I do on my website, because I know there's information outside of the information that I share here on YouTube for free. There's information that I know, things that I've learned over the years from trial and error. I've done a lot of things in my 37 years of being here But a lot of things I've learned from trial and error, and I know some of these things that I can help people move their career forward a lot faster, to help give people more insight on things that they might be making a mistake of, some things that they might not notice, just like a football coach. You might be able to tell somebody the way that they're hitting is going to cause them to break their shoulder or something, break their collarbone. If you keep doing that, it's going to cause you to do that. Well, you as the individual might not be aware of that, but if you have somebody that's with you that can look at what you're doing and kind of coach you along, that can help you in it and save you some time, save you some heartache. Not saying that some of that heartache and some of that trouble is not necessary to help you to develop in your character, but as much as you can avoid, is avoid as much as you can. I learned a lot from watching other people fail, watching other people making mistakes. Now, I still have my own things that I have to deal with, that I have to go through, but there are some things that through coaching of others, through wisdom of others, through direction and just kind of guiding of others, I've been able to make better decisions that have served me better. So again, when I'm talking about the calls, I no longer spend a lot of my time on the phone talking to people and casting my pearls of wisdom among people who don't care, because I know that's a waste of resource. I know that's a waste of seed, and I encourage you to do the same thing. There's stuff I'm willing to share to people, and in these calls that I have on my website, I'm willing to share as much as you want to ask me. I'm not going to get too personal, but I'm willing to share. If I feel like it's going to help you and I feel like it's going to move you and propel you forward, I'm willing to share as much as necessary. There are already people who've been taking advantage of these calls, and I know that their lives are being affected in positive ways, and they're moving forward in their careers because of these talks that we're having, because of some things that I'm being able to share with them that they may not have known. So I encourage you to be part of these calls, to be part of the monthly membership lessons. If you're not part of my monthly membership lessons, I would love to give you more outside of this YouTube stuff, which is really good. But I'd love to give you more on a one-on-one basis, because this stuff, as I say every week, this is very general. But if I can talk to you on a one-on-one basis, I can guarantee you I can maybe give you a little bit more insight and give you a little bit more direct. Not that I'm the know-all guy, but there might be something that I have as it relates to wisdom that might help you figure out what it is you need to know in order to move forward. Listen, guys, it's been really cool talking to you today. And I really enjoy everybody that's on here. And I don't take it lightly that you've lended me your time. For the people who've been on here for the entire hour and some change, I'm super honored that you think enough of me to lend your time and your ears to what I have to say and what I have to play. I hope I've said something today that's been really, really helpful and life-changing to you, that helps to propel you and move you forward. I don't want to just help you unlock your sound as a musician, but I want to help you unlock your true potential as an individual, so that you won't just be a great musician, but you will also continue to be a great person. So that's my hopes there. Hey Jermaine, I really appreciate your content. Do you have, or are you planning on doing a video on different typical phrasings for bass fills? Yeah, I've done stuff similar to that, so I encourage you to go back through the videos. I probably done something similar to what you asked, and so if you get a chance, just go through and kind of binge watch some of the stuff that I did. I did a complete series on licks, and I did 1 minute lick series. There's feels and licks and riffs and all that kind of stuff. It's probably called licks, what you're looking for. So yeah, there's tons of information there on my channel. So please be sure to do that. Your t-shirt looks like the cover of the Yellow Jackson Mirage at 3. Oh wow, this is actually the silhouette from my album, my band album, Dreams Work Reality, which there is merchandise available. This is one of my t-shirts from, as you can see, I don't know how well you can see that, but it says Dreams Work Reality. In the middle, that's me standing with my bass, the silhouette. This is my keyboard player, and this is my drummer. Both of them are really, really close friends of mine. So the Jermaine Morgan Band, if you haven't heard that album, Dreams Work Reality, that's pretty much it. Bernard Williams, I'm on late, but preach on Bishop Morgan, one of the greatest men and musicians I know. What's up, man? Good to see you on this morning. CeeLo, thank you. Really insightful. God bless. Man, blessings to you. Same as Pumbar 12, great live feed, and thanks for Christoph Discovery. And thank you all again for joining. If you don't know who Bernard Williams is, please follow him. Phenomenal singer and worship leader. Had the honor and privilege of serving with this guy for over 7, 8 years in the ministry at New Birth. We worked together. So anyway, guys, I'm about to jump off. Thank you for joining me this morning. I've been on here way too long, but thank you guys so much for being a part of this. If you found this helpful, please share this with somebody. Share this with your team, your group, your band. MJ Morgan, I love those initials. Have a wonderful, blessed day, you as well. But anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Best wishes to all of you. Salutations and all that good stuff.